My name is Juanita Archuleta, and I work on the NinjaTrader business development team. We have a very special event for you today with Anthony with Verbal Journal Trading. I would like to mention that it is important to understand that there are substantial risks in trading commodity futures contracts and Forex. You should carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you and will depend on your specific circumstance and financial resources. It is possible to lose all funds deposited with your broker and could even incur losses beyond these amounts. Please inquire at the following link if you would like a full copy or to review the CFTC full risk disclosure. Also, please remember that these training webinars are not a solicitation nor a recommendation, but simply educational in nature. This presentation is presented by NinjaTrader LLC, which is the technology company responsible for developing and supporting the NinjaTrader trading software. Brokerage-related questions should be directed to the NinjaTrader brokerage directly at 312-262-1289 or by emailing the following email address. We are very excited for this unique event in which Anthony will teach us how Verbal Journal allows traders to verbally record trades and plot them on top of price charts. Thanks again for your attendance today, and without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome to the NinjaTrader webinar room, Anthony. Go ahead.
All right, Juanita, thank you. Let me share the screen to make sure everybody could see my screen, hear my voice. Give me a Y like you gave Juanita if you can hear me. All right, guys, thank you. Sounds good. So what's interesting about that poll, and I didn't know they were going to do it, is that 60% are looking for trading education. And that's another fit for this verbal journal is how much education do you get, and then how much do you retain? How do you use it? And that's another use for this tool, and we'll get into that as we go. So thanks again for coming. I'll get into a little bit about me in a second, but let's move these slides along. I'm going to do a demo on how the verbal journal is used, give you some ideas of what it's all about, but basically I'm going to underscore the simplicity it's created in trade journaling. I'm not here to tell you how important journaling is. I'm here to tell you that where is the best straightforward way to do it. If I were to draw an analogy and say we all know that physical fitness is important, but if I tell you you got to go to a gym for 2 hours a day the rest of your life, what's the sustainability? It's not there. Journaling is important, but it's hard to sustain the traditional ways that traders journal. So read this. It's making it practical for those who already journal and possible for those who don't because of its simplicity. All right. So a quick agenda page, the what, the how, and the why. What is it? How to use it? And most importantly, why to use it. And we're going to cover all that. Just a brief bio about me. Many of you guys know me. I've been around a while, but I've had the experience of being a CME clerk. Then I was a Board of Trade member, Chicago Board of Trade member, and a pit trader. And then I left because I couldn't make any money in the pit. And I got rescued as electronic trading came to this country in the late 90s. In April 2000, I got a job at ITG, International Trading Group, which is a northern suburb prop firm. I didn't know what a prop firm was back then. And I was a floor trader. And many people that trade don't know what prop firms are. It's just a venue of professional day traders. And so I get hired, and I'm telling you this because I failed at this business. There's a lot of people in here I'm sure are successful, and there's a lot that are struggling because it's a tough business. I know what it's like to work hard and fail. If it wasn't for my girlfriend, now my wife, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have stayed. She told me, keep at it, keep doing it. And she bought me time. I got an introduction to a prop firm. And then the verbal journal came from just taking that camaraderie, that collaboration, and over years just saying, wouldn't it be cool? And I thought about this probably 8-10 years ago. Wouldn't it be cool to do this, this, and that on a chart? 3 other guys said, wow, absolutely. So this has been a long time in the making, and I'm encouraged that I did it to help me, but I'm not going to lie to you. There's a business behind it. There's a lot of great uses for it for everyone, and let's walk through it in its simplicity. It's not going to be a very long webinar. I appreciate your questions. I'll answer every one of them. If I don't answer them as I'm going through this, I'll answer them at the end. So what is it? Let's get into it real quick. And by the way, once you leave here, you go to the website. In a 1-minute video, you're going to know what this is. So what is it? Take a look at an image of a simple NinjaTrader chart. It happens to be a candlestick chart, but it doesn't matter if it's a number bar, a bar chart, Renko, whatever, the periodicity will work on everything. What happens is if you take your cursor, hold control down, and left click, anywhere you left click, say you left click here, a dialog box that looks like that's going to appear. I'm going to get into details of what each feature is. In this dialog box, you're able to title it, you're able to select a color, you're able to select whether or not you want a line to go out from that color, make sure your mic is identified, and you simply hit record and you start talking. You start talking about different ideas like, why did I miss this trade? Or why do I even come up with a pre-market opinion? I'm always wrong. Or why don't I trade my pre-market opinion? I'm always right. Things that are missed. The search for education is pretty profound with that poll that Juanita did. 60%, you can't get 60% of people to agree on what day of the week it is. 60% of people are in search of trading education. And that's important. Nobody becomes good at something without it. There's not a lot of great education out there, and that's not what this is. This allows you to take the good stuff and retain it in your own words, in your own thoughts. So once you close this box, a dot will appear like there or there, wherever you initiated the control left click. You will have a dot appear in the color you select to designate what kind of thought it was. Maybe blue circles for bullish thoughts and red for bearish thoughts. I don't want to get into creating everyone's color legend, but we'll get into that as I do a demo in a moment. So how to use it. I'm going to blow up the dialog box so you can look at it a little closer. In the title field, you're welcome to click and title any unique title you might want to make this thought. What's also cool is once you record a particular title, it'll get saved so you don't always have to type a new one. Generally, your journal topics are going to be similar. You were bullish, you were bearish, you were mad, you were all these different, there might be a dozen titles. They'll all get saved in here, so you're going to have to type it once you've done it once. So that's pretty neat. That's on version 2, which you guys are going to get as part of this webinar. The second thing is you could select your color. Whatever color this is, the color of the dot that's going to be left behind. Pretty simple. You could decide whether or not you want a line to come out from it. And I'll show you how that works in a second. You make sure the right mic is identified here. And then you simply got your title, your color, whether or not you want a line, and you hit record. And you start talking. You could start talking. You could start swearing. You could start saying anything that's on your mind, X, Y, Z, why you did this, why you didn't do that. Hey, you could talk yourself through the trade. You're in the trade, and you could listen to the inflection of your voice. You could find out how emotional you are. There's a video that I'm going to send on YouTube for you guys that I think I did it on YouTube. Back in 2001, I recorded myself with a camera, me trading, and the most important thing I learned from it was how unobjective I was, how tough it was to be objective if you're mad, how mad I got, how emotional I got. So as Anthony, the calm trader, was watching Anthony, the aggravated trader, I was like, do this. Why aren't I getting out? Why aren't I getting out? That allowed me to document what I was doing. But let's face it, it's not practical to have a camera and video and all the resources that chews up. Just make it simple. Instead of working out 2 hours a day, how about we work out and sweat for 10 or 15 minutes a day? And now you got a better chance to not just getting fit, but staying fit because something is sustainable. So going back, that's how to use it. It's a hold down the control key, left click. Wherever you do that on a chart, the dialog box will appear, and I'll demo it in a moment. Now the most important, I think, element to any tool that you're going to use, and that's why to use it. I often show a picture of my family. I updated this picture. If you've seen any of my past webinars, I threw in my sisters because they were getting mad I didn't have them included. But that's me at the top, and that's my father at the bottom. I look like I'm the tallest, but I'm on my toes, I'll have to admit. But that's me at the top, and that's my father at the bottom, and all my dumb brothers and sisters in the middle. And I always show this because when I talk about the why of anything, he used to tell us, if you know how, you'll have a job, but if you know why, you'll be the boss. If you know how, you'll have a job, you know why, you'll be the boss. The why is important. So what's the why in the verbal journal? Give me some uses for it. The practicality is there. The simplicity is there. How could it help me? Well, number one, if you don't journal, it gets you to start. Right? It's hard to start by writing a bunch of words, accumulating all these notebooks. typing in a text, even though it might strategically be put on where you want it. Now you have it, and it's easy to start and easier to sustain it. It's click, click, start talking, and then start listening. How many times do you write something down about a thought, but by the time you're done writing it or typing it, you forgot what the heck you were thinking about? That doesn't happen when you audio record it. You could still write, but it gets first people to start journaling, a very important piece to trading. Secondly, missed trades. And I think this is the most important. Think about the great tools out there that kick back your trading statistics. And there's a ton of value in it. Don't get me wrong. There's a ton of value of your number of winners to your losers, your average winner, average loser. All good stuff. But nothing documents the trades you miss because you didn't take them. Think about that. That's not data that's collected, is it? So if you're not documenting it, and you're not going to be able to do it in a notebook because you're not going to throw the words and the pages up on the chart, you're not going to waste time typing it because that takes too long. But a very important use of the verbal journal is documenting your missed trades, putting them on a chart, and I'm going to show you what it could show you when you see enough like blue dots and you're dead right. You're missing trades. Why are you missing the trade? How do I replace fear with confidence? So that's another use of it, missed trades. Save time. What does that mean? Two things. Number one, it's obvious it saves you time from journaling by writing and typing. That's obvious. Here's another way it saves time. By your pre-market opinion or bias. A lot of people have a great idea as to what the market's going to do price-wise before it opens. God bless them. A lot of times they don't trade that opinion. Verbal journal will help you get confident that why aren't I trading my opinion? Look at it. I'm always right, or I'm right 90% of the time, at least with direction, that is. I'm bullish today, and it goes up, but I don't trade it from the long side. I find myself being short. How many people are bullish going into the day and your first trade's a short? So your pre-market opinion is important. It's more important to document and see what the market did after so you can keep track, not of each trade and how you traded each opinion, the overall opinion. Here's where it saves time, though. Let's say your pre-market opinion, and stop looking at the picture of my family and me. The pre-market, the reason why it's going to save you time is maybe your pre-market opinion is terrible. Stop coming up with one. Stop wasting the time with the research and the homework you're doing to try to predict what's going to happen and the game didn't start. So maybe it's good and you have confidence to trade it, or maybe it stinks and you have the confidence to rip it up and just look at different things. But a lot of people waste time. They take the education that they learned to try to come up with an opinion and execute that opinion, but they don't accurately document whether or not it's working for them. They only use their trading results, and that's deceiving. It's not, oh, this is good trading education because I made money, and it's bad because I lost money. Maybe you got lucky and you think it's good. Maybe it's not bad because you lost money, but because you didn't execute it. And I'm blaming anyone. I'm a victim of that myself. I'll blame a strategy or an idea, and I didn't even trade that idea. So it's important to document what your thoughts are, if you have them every day, how they're working. And then last, I'll put this at the bottom, confidence. And it's a word that listen, there's no guarantee that this makes you confident. But what it does do is helps you replace the fears that we all have with something else. In order to get rid of fear, you got to replace it with something. Because we're human, it's always going to exist. Well, what do you replace it with? Confidence. But how do you get confident? You have to strip randomness out. My dad, my two brothers up in here, they're all lifelong electricians. In fact, my dad would say I was living at home, and I went from making no money in the pit when I got a job at a prop firm. After 6 months, I was making more money than him, and I was home at 11 o'clock. And he said, what the hell are you guys doing? I said, well, you should have become a trader instead of an electrician, Dad. But the point is that they're electricians. They're confident of the outcome when they tie two wires together. It's not random to them. If it was, they'd be fearful. They couldn't touch it. Now, I'm human. There's fear we all have. How do you minimize it? It's good to have a little. It's catastrophic to have too much. Execution is everybody's pain point. Journaling is everyone's pain point because it's too damn hard, difficult, and cumbersome. This cuts through all of that. All right? Let's go to another slide, then I'm going to demo it, I promise. I want to give you guys a sense of some ways to use it. And by the way, investing in this utility, number one, doesn't just give you the utility. It's going to create a community of how other people are using it. That's what the monthly emails are going to go out, only to people that are serious enough to do it. Because I'm not ignorant to think I've got all the right ideas on how to use this. I had a few, but the test group was not just instrumental in making sure it worked and was bug free, but also instrumental in ideas. Hey, I'm using it for this, or I'm using it for that. And I go, I never thought of that. That's really good stuff. So missed trades. Maybe you plot your missed trades with red dots and blue dots. Maybe. Like I said before, I don't want to dictate your color legend. It could be unique to you. Just giving you an idea. Pre-market ideas. Maybe those are light blue if you're bullish and pinkish if it's a bearish thought or idea. In trade emotion, you open up a trade, you start talking. Maybe those are yellow. So every time you have a yellow dot, you know you had a trade there. And forget about you could listen to yourself and tell how good the trade was. But you can listen to yourself through all that. This is an interesting one. We added it to version 2. Why support resistance? You could add lines. I'm going to show you guys this with dash, red, green, whatever color, and click anywhere on that line to listen to the note. Support resistance is really important. Everybody has it. I do. Everyone does. We have different ways to come up with it, but everybody has it. But there's a dimension missing with your support resistance. They're not all equal. Not every LVN for market profilers is the same. Not every HVN. Not every high, I use different levels to follow the tempo of a market. They're not all the same. Why is this support for you? Why is this resistance to you? Go back and not only see if they worked, but see if there's a common denominator for the ones that work because of why you had it and the ones that don't. And that's powerful stuff because it's not all in a vacuum. Trading isn't. You guys know, I could tell from some of the questions I'm getting and I'm peeking at them, there's a higher level of understanding that trading is not particularly easy because it changes, right? Not every day is the same. So you got to change with it. So what's the common denominator of support that works and the reasons why? And again, I use the word confidence. Does it all lead to confidence? No, it just gives you a better chance. I can't promise you guys anything. All I can tell you is what gives you a better chance than you had before this or that you had last week, 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, before education you sought after. What's going to give you a better chance to take money out of the market? That's all you could do and put yourself in that position. So let me go to a chart. Before I go to a chart, hold on a second. There we go. You can see a ninja chart of crude oil. Now, I'm not going to demonstrate on different chart types and get into too much detail. I just want to underscore, because this is a question that I get asked, and in the 1 minute video to preview this, it shows it, but it works on any chart type. This just happens to be a candlestick. So let's go over the first thing, and that was, hold on a second. Let me do my slides back here. Here we go. Missed trades. Let's say they're red if you missed a short trade and blue if you missed a long trade. All right? If you're seeing these trades and these opportunities come up in here, and generally this is what the market looks like. You miss a trade, it ran up, and you're like, man, I would have been right. And you click on here, hold control and left click, pulls the dialog back up, and whatever the title is, you play it from here. Or you could delete it from here, all right? But let's just say, simulate real time, that you wanted to buy it here at 62 even, and you missed it. So you come in here and you click. You hold control and you left click. Remember I told you preloaded titles? You go down and say missed trades. You make the color blue because it's already blue, but you make it blue because it's a missed long trade. Let's say you can make the title anything you want. These are my preloaded titles. Yours could be anything you're going to want. These aren't set. Do you want a line? That's up to you. You go ahead and you press record. Now it's literally recording what I'm talking about. You stop it, you close it, and the dot appeared right here. So if I control left click, miss trade, play it back, it's going to play back what I just recorded. Everywhere you have a dot You have a journal entry. You have an idea. You have a thought. You have something that's aggravating you. You have your fear. You have everything else. Same thing with missed trades on the upside. Maybe they're red. I don't want to get lost in the details. I think people get the gist that when you're missing trades, why are you missing them? Let's just say you want to buy it. You want to buy this market when it gets down before you know it's going to rally. Let's go from the short side. You want to sell this market before it gets up in here. All right. Maybe it looks like that. You want to sell this thing and you put down why maybe you want to sell it. I think it's going down. You record it, and you got to record it and stop it and close it in order for a dot to appear. Okay? Then if you control left click it, you can delete it. What's good, and I want to cover this so I don't forget, if you don't record it and you close it, it's not going to put a dot there, and you don't want one there because you don't want empty dots with no recordings in it. But let's just say you want to get short somewhere and you didn't. You go back and you listen to yourself, why do I want to get short there? Maybe it gives you a better chance to do it. Or you put up there, left click, mistrade, and you make it red. You hit OK, and you explain why. Let me do it. Why I missed this trade. Like, listen, I was in here. I seen big buyers come in. They couldn't get the market to come up, to go up. It was right in my resistance. I seen the NASDAQ come off, and I was afraid because of the last trade I took. I didn't want to double my losers. You stop it, you close it, and the red dot up here appears. I'll blow this chart up for you guys. Red dot up there appears. Now you go back and you listen. Do you have a lot of instances where you're afraid because your previous trade keeps you from the next trade? Let me shrink this down again. So those are missed trades. If you're seeing, I want to go over both sides of this. If you're seeing that the market, you get a lot of blue dots and you're right, you're going to get confident to stop missing trades. However, if you get a lot of, let's say, I want to call it maybe a different shade of red, and you say to yourself, before all this happens, you say to yourself, because this happens, I think it's going down. And you make it a lighter shade of red, and that's your shade of red for it going down, or pink. All right? And you record. I think this market's really weak. I think it's going down. It has to go down. It's in an LVN. I know this trade works all the time. This is a great trade. I learned it from reading 4 or 5 different books. This is awesome, and I'm going to take this trade, but this is really a good spot. The market's going to go down. Stop it. You record it, or you close it. The pink dot happened, and what happened to the market after you had that thought? Straight up. So not just giving you confidence when you're calling it right to stop missing stuff, but also the opportunity to say, you stink today. You stink this week. Whatever you're reading isn't working. Because that gets lost in all the mess and all the emotion of trading and statistics and everything else. Real-time analysis. It isn't about demo trading with actual contracts. Demo trading should be done this way first. And then as you're trading, it should be done in concert with your real trades to not only get good, but stay good. All right, so that's missed trades. I don't want to spend a lot of time on each one. Pre-market, make them pink and light blue. So if you run this chart this way, I put a white horizontal or vertical line in here. And let's just pretend, and I did this for example's sake, that each line is the start of another day. It's not, but let's just say it is. So before we know what happens, you come in here and you record your thought. Pre-market ideas, right? I already did it, so I can go back and listen to it. This isn't a real thought. This is just for example. And you think it's bullish based on some fundamentals that are coming across the wire that hit overnight, XYZ. It doesn't matter why you think it's going up. Who am I to tell you you're right or wrong? But you need to tell yourself, this is my pre-market idea. This is my opinion. Let's see what happens. Then when you go through the day, if you see a lot of light blue balls at the beginning of each day, if you have them, what else is going to give you confidence to start playing it from that side? I said this earlier, but how many times do you have a bullish bias and your first trade is short? Or you look at your trades and you had 6 shorts out of 7 trades. If you go back and listen to your bias, it was bullish and it was straight up. That could change, but the point is there's not documentation that's accurate. Why? Because in the past it was hard to do all that. So you could color code your pre-market ideas. And then, like I said earlier, maybe your pre-market opinions are terrible, right? Maybe you got pre-market opinions where before the day starts, right up here, let's just say this is the beginning of the day, and you open up a box and you go back to your pre-market idea and you record. My pre-market idea is just not only is this blue, this is dark blue. This is a big bullish day about to come. And I read this in a book, and I know this works, and I'm really confident that we're going to rally the whole session. It's a balanced, it's an outside day followed by a balanced day, along with a 50% Fibonacci retracement, and it just blew out the 618 overhead fib. The only thing great about Fibonacci is that he's Italian. Other than that, you got to be a little wary about using it on its own. So anyways, stop the recording. I was actually recording all that. Close it. Blue dot appears. That's my pre-market opinion. Look what happened. Straight down. There's nothing wrong with that. It'll get you better at being wrong because you'll know why you're wrong. I always tell people that trading is one of the only businesses where you got to be good at being wrong, and you got to like it. You got to love it. You got to embrace it. You got to be confident. But you don't get there if it's random. This will help strip randomness out. So those are pre-market opinions. If you're right, give you confidence to trade on that side. If you're wrong, save yourself time from coming up with one. If people are really hard and fast with their pre-market stuff. What's the next one? In trade emotion. How are we doing on time? We're doing good. In fact, one of my crazy sisters just texted me, look at my phone. She's one in the picture. Bothers me nonstop. So anyways, the in trade emotion. You got a trade, you just open it up, you got long crude oil at 66.60, right? It just happened. You click, and maybe your trade is in trade commentary, you title it. And all of these trades are yellow. You have it set, and you think, well, it's going to be hard to do that. No, it's taking me, I'm deliberately going through it, and it takes a couple seconds. You hit record, and you sit through the trade. Say I'm long oil because I really like this area. Heating oil has rallied. RBOB has been strong all day. Stocks are pushing us higher. Holy SHI, you start swearing and you start getting mad. Why did this happen? Maybe you don't get mad. Maybe you do, but you listen to your inflection. Maybe you're calm, and when you're calm and when you're seeing things, even when it goes against you a little bit, you stay in the trade for the right reasons because nothing changed. Your emotions didn't dictate your decisions. Your skills did. Your emotions didn't dictate it. Your skills did. I also recorded that one. So you close it. Yellow dot appears. You know that that's potentially in trade commentary that you have to measure your emotions. Listen, I keep a really high decorum when I do these events. I really do. I don't swear and get out there. But if you're doing this is private. You got to be yourself. You got to trade yourself as much as you trade the markets. You got to be yourself. So you get mad. I don't want to hear it, but you should hear it. You got to hear me with the video I did of me trading in 2001 without the bleeps, people around me, and that's real life. That might not make you worse. It might make you better. I don't know, but it was making me worse, and I figured it out by doing that replay. And so that's a in-trade emotion, and you could determine and you could kind of understand how that would help you and color it accordingly. Next one. Why support resistance? This was an interesting feature I added on before I rolled it out. And by the way, this is a grand opening of this. I've not only had this idea for over a decade, but it's one of those things where it's not the idea, it's the implementation of it. And Ninja does a great job opening up their API and their ecosystem and everything else. And so it's something we added, and it's version 2. But everybody that gets it by the end of the month is going to get version 2. You're going to skip over 1. Skipping over 1 because 2 has everything 1 has in it. Support resistance. Why support resistance? Let's just say, and we're going to do this the wrong way first, saying before the market let's see. Before the market, let's hide something in here. Just stay with me. Stay with me. Right in here, the market's up at 70.20 in crude oil. I think comes back down to 69 even. It's going to be support. And I hold my control key and I left click and I go to myself support and I make it green. And I also draw a line. So I check the box, draw a line, and I hit record. And I say, this is going to be great support here. And it's going to be great support because I read this in a Fibonacci book one time about how when a 682 or 618 conflates with a 382 and a 50% on 4 different time frames, it works awesome. It's going to be great support. I'm going to get long. Stop it, close it, and there's your line. And there it didn't work. But you go back and say, man, this was a really crappy support area. Why? Am I missing something? I'm not going to show you, you know, if you have one in here and let's say the market here, this is one before the market actually shows support. You still think it's going to be support, but for better reasons, right? You go and you record and you say, I think there's potential support down here because on the way up there was some stuck shorts. I'm going to look to qualify this trade by some real buying or some selling that can't make it go down, then real buying is absorbing it. But two things. I've seen the speed at which this market went up through this area. I think some stuck shorts are still stuck from down in here. And I'm going to wait to qualify it. I want to see real buying absorbing stuck shorts. You stop it. There's your line across. So when the darn thing works really well, you don't have to wonder, well, that's because it was just one thing or something in a vacuum. Go back and listen to why it might have been support. And what's cool about this is that you can, instead of having gone back to the dot to listen, you could click anywhere on the line and pull up and listen to yourself and what I just said or what you just said. And the lines typically will end at the end of the session, so you don't have lines going on forever. And if you want a new line, you put in a new line. So it makes it really easy to do all this stuff. So typically, when you look at all these in this demo, all these tell a little story. They don't have to be a book. It's a little story, and it's your story. Everybody has a story, but we don't document it. Start documenting your story in a very simplistic fashion and get yourself around people that are also doing that, right? They're also telling a story and create the community of serious traders. Listen, people who aren't that serious aren't going to like this or not, it's okay, I don't want that. They're not truly serious. Anybody would use this from a guy who's been trading for 20 years as a pro in a prop firm in London and Chicago to a guy who this is his first webinar, didn't even know you could trade commodities or futures, and everybody else in between. That's what's unique about it. It's simple. Anybody can understand how to use it. And it's not a 2-hour workout every day to stay as fit as I am. I'm just joking. I'm not that fit. So as we go along, every one of these circles or dots tell a story. And it leads to the end, and that's the confidence. That's the whole goal. And in order to get confident, you got to strip out randomness. What's random in your trading? It's different than maybe what's random at times in my trading. That's why no two people will trade alike. There's common denominators, the right ways to value price, the right ways to manage risk. However, no two people are going to look alike, and no two people are going to trade alike for those reasons. Tell your story. Understand other people's story, but tell your own in these little dots that allow you to listen to why you're doing stuff right and why you're doing stuff wrong. Because everything else is a blur. Reminds me of a guy, before he started using this, he was beefing on his strategy, and he was swearing. He said, I can't, this. And I said, well, tell me what you did. And he told me what he did. It had nothing to do with his strategy, and yet he thought it did. There's nothing worse than blaming something whose fault it's not. So it's like he blamed the strategy, and the strategy was great. He just wasn't executing it, and yet he thought he did. So he's going to scrap something that was working for him. Why? Our emotions make us do that. Our emotions make us drunk with our decision-making process, and this will straighten you out and help straighten you out. Now, there's no promises this is going to make you $1 million, because nothing will, and nobody should give you those promises. Just give yourself a better chance to be successful. That's all you could ask for when you invest in something and when you invest in someone. And that's what this is. And the someone you're investing in is not me, it's you. And it's a lifetime license for it. So to get into that, because it's something I wanted to build as a utility for me and my community, and it turned into, why not turning it into a little business, because of Ninja making it easy to add to their ecosystem, as you guys well know. So more information, there's a discount code. Don't go right now, but verbaljournaltrading.com is the website. Part of the promotion is it's a one-time purchase, and it's for a life. The discount is for $100 off, but you got to go and subscribe to it. In the subscription, you're going to get videos if you decide to up it into buying it, for ideas on how others, including me, are using it. I just gave you 4 ideas. There's more not only beyond that, but to come. You guys will get a free upgrade to version 2, which is what I was showing you. Forget about version 1, because you're going to get 2. The monthly community videos of how to, what are good ideas for what other people are doing in a journal. Could be something that works for you and something you didn't think of. Like I said, I can't say that I know every best way to use this. And verbaljournaltrading.com is the website. The code expires at the end of the month. To get the code, go to the website. There's a pop-up. If you can't get the pop-up for some reason doesn't come up, go to the tips page on the navigation bar. And I think Juanita will put that in. That's the link that I had given you, Juanita. Put that in, and guys can go there, and there's a subscription form that's embedded on that page. So you don't have to wait for the pop-up. Now let's go back and answer some questions. First question, is it available in Canada? No, we're not doing anything with Canadians until we reach this NAFTA agreement. I'm just joking, Jessica. If you have Ninja, it's available. Let me go back up the questions. Be patient. I'll get to yours. Stuffed shorts. Well, I call them stuck shorts, Mike, but I like that one too. Hey, the reason why this isn't part of the event, but the reason why prices move, in my opinion, and I'm saying it in my opinion because for regulatory reasons, but markets go up because people are stuck short. That creates the buying to get price to go higher. That's the emotion. Don't be part of the emotion. Tell yourself the story using the verbal journal. All right, Dimitri, do I get an alert when the price hits the support line? Not yet. But if you're watching, that's your alert. Is there an expiration for the dots? No, they get stored into a local file as a WAV file. You could delete them, but there is no expiration in this version. All right, thanks, George. He likes it. Vincente, we got some Italians in here. There's an additional 20% discount for Italians. Just joking. Are the only ways to access the recordings to opening the chart? No, because they're stored in your local file. You can listen to them as a WAV file out of there. Vincente, good question. Another George. Too many Georges. As of now, do I plan on hotkeys? No, the only hotkey is hold control left click. I want less keystrokes as possible. And this George brings up a good point. Stats show what already happened. This seems like it shows you what is happening in real time. And it's showing you what you're thinking in real time. So good point. Yes, in fact, you could use historical data. You could use sim data. You could use delayed data, but you have to have data. Another man, there's a lot of Georgians here. Loves how to make journaling so easy. No reason not to do it. I agree. So George D, I think I answered your other question. The chart's deleted, the files are saved. But if you delete the file out of the chart, actually, I didn't show you guys this. This is another chart I wanted to bring over of some real-time thoughts that I begin doing. I want to give you another. You guys can see this chart, okay, I hope. See all these white dots down at the bottom? They had nothing to do with trading. They were my thoughts and some other things that I was doing and preparing for. And so I put them white off the screen. Because that matters, right? Everything in your life matters, especially when you trade. So I journal everything when there's a chart open in front of me. Reason for support, resistance. And listen, I'll have blue lines and we shoot right through it as support, but now I know why. But that's what I wanted to show you, those white dots. That it's not just trading journaling that you could do on this thing. If you're spending your time in front of charts, you have a thought about something that's bothering you, journal it. Don't be crazy. Everything about journaling is made easier with this tool. So Jessica, that answer your question? If you have NinjaTrader, oh, that's the other thing. It is available on 7 and 8. And I'm not going to charge you for both. You buy it, you're going to get install files for 7 and 8. I will tell you this, and I think this will make Ninja feel good. The test group used the verbal journal and says, you know what, I'm going to go to 8. And they were glad they did. They like 8 a lot better, and they kind of were mad they didn't go to 8 earlier. This is just for people that made the decision to go from 7 to 8. But it works on 7, and it works on 8. There's easy install instructions when you go to purchase it. Use the discount code for it, though. All right, Jessica, I'm glad you like it. Does it function on the demo version? It does, but you got to have data in there, Hans. Even if it's SIM data. That's how I originally tested it. Could you add things like price entered and exited? Well, you can vocally. You can put another dot. So let's say you enter at 31 even in the S&Ps, and you put a blue dot. I bought it here, and here's why. And then where you get out, you could put another dot where you exited. I know Ninja has the automated functionality to plot your trades in like triangles, so you could use that along with these, and that's the power of your trades with your thoughts. Because your trades don't talk to you. Do you ever notice that winning trades aren't always great trades and losing trades aren't always bad trades? This helps solve that problem. It's not always, sometimes a losing trade's a great trade because you managed it well. Sometimes a winning trade is dangerous because you got lucky. Can I copy dots? Not yet, but good question. Oh, I didn't show that. I should close that chart out. But it's a good question. Let me say it and underscore it so people are listening. Yes, when you change time frames, it'll plot the dot and the price accordingly. As long as the license loaded on the chart, which you'll be able to do. You have to load each license to each chart. And I wanted it to be that way because you don't necessarily want all these dots in all your charts. So maybe a few charts you want these dots. But when you change the periodicity from like a daily to a 5-minute, it'll adjust the dots accordingly because it timestamps it, price and time. So good question, George. A lot of Georges, and they're all asking good questions. So not only will it adjust to different time frames, but it'll also put on any time frame, or not time frame, but chart type. There's number bars, there's candlesticks, there's all different kinds of chart types people use. This will work as long as you got data through it. This will give people a good reason to go from 7 to 8. Now, it works on 7. Don't get me wrong. I'm just giving you feedback that 8's been around long enough, so in my opinion, if you're not on 8, I think you'd like it a lot better. It should, yeah, it supports all mics, right? So I got a Logitech mic. This is the question. Does it support a Yeti mic? That's what I'm talking on now. It does. So if I pull up, did I close this chart? No, I got it. So if I want to click right in here, a great trade, let's say it's a crappy trade, or you know what trade, you can put that in there too. But if you look in here, the guy asking the question, mic source, it'll pick up, I have a Logitech in there and I have a Yeti in there. So it'll pick up either one. I don't encourage you to have a lot of mics plugged in. Not that it's going to affect the verbal journal, but generally one PC, one mic. It also works on an embedded mic into a laptop. It'll pick up the mic source is the easiest way I could. So Bill, if you subscribe on the tips page, you'll get emailed the discount code. I should have been more clear. If you subscribe on the tips page, you'll get emailed the discount code. And reach out in the contact page if you have any trouble with that. In fact, let me show it to you. We'll bring over this in the screen share. This is the page tips. If you fill out this form, email and first name, hit subscribe, you get an email sent, and you'll get it there. With this, not only you get the discount code, but you also get the ongoing community ideas for how to use it. I'm going to do it monthly. I might do it more as this thing picks up. Remember about something like this. This isn't something that you have to say, well, how do I use it? You don't need a long instructional manual on how to use it. There's not a learning curve. We all know how to talk and we all know how to listen. Now you're just going to document it, and so you're helping yourself. And so like I tell people, it's going to help some people more than others, but one thing it's not going to do, it's not going to hurt you. There are indicators, there are systems, there's education that if it doesn't work, it could hurt you. This isn't going to hurt you. It can only help. And there isn't too many risklessness in this business, right? So if you go to the tips page, which would be by clicking tips, it would bring you to here, email, first name, subscribe, and you're good to go. If you go to the home page, this is what the website looks like. And I purposely, it's running a little slow because I got a lot of things opened up on this screen share, but I purposely did it where if you look at the video loop, all these notebooks, bam, they go away, because now the verbal journal cleans off your desk. And there's no reason to have all those notes. And again, there's nothing wrong, guys, with writing your thoughts. You could continue to do it, but you can go back and write off of what you recorded. Let me make sure I got everybody's questions answered because I skipped here a little bit. You got the email with the code? Good. Hopefully you joined, Bill. I recognize your name. Maybe it's from somewhere else. I just, you know, a lot of people will come and say, the best things that are made, and there's a patent pending on this that I have because when talking to people with the idea, it's patentable, so there's patent pending status on it, not the fact that you record, but that where you place it, and some other reasons. So there's intellectual property that I protected, but I want to tell you that on a personal note, I didn't come up with this idea to bring it commercial. It just ebbed and flowed that way. I think the best idea are they come from solving your own problem that you might have. Because I'm terrible at trying to write down my thoughts. Awful at it. I used to start plotting my trades, and I couldn't keep doing it. Then I put a video camera up watching me trade. And while that was helpful, who the heck's going to want to watch 3 hours, 4 hours of you trading? You're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. So this all came from a need and a solution to a problem. And the problem is, while journaling is important, it's too damn difficult and cumbersome to do. And I don't want to keep going on. I want to keep this at 45 minutes. We're a little beyond that. Let me just real quick make sure that I didn't skip over anything, Juanita. Christine writes a nice testimonial. she was one of the tests. Okay, I'm wondering how the heck did she get it? That's Christine. That's one of the beta testers. She found it extremely helpful documenting my thought process as to reasons why a trade was initiated, and much quicker than having to stop and write your thoughts down and going through and trying to figure out what you did and review it. Another question by Lee. How many entries can you add to a chart? As many as you want. You might find that you add too few or too many as far as how many thoughts do you want to keep, but as many as you want. Good question. I'm not, as far as the upgrades go, Les, this is a good question. You got to pay for further upgrades. There are upgrades that we have in mind, but what I'm going to tell this group that does it in September is the next upgrade you're not paying for, and beyond that, maybe not. It just, I don't know how many upgrades it's going to cost me to add to it. Some ideas I have, but I will tell you this. The next upgrade you get, I'm not going to nickel and dime people. I don't want this to cost people money. I want them to use it to help them to save money by putting them in a position to manage the risk better, manage themselves better, and everything else. So while, yes, it's a bit, I don't nickel and dime customers. One last thing that I'll add about this as a utility is it's not a recurring charge. I could make it a lower fee and charge you, and then you don't know what you're going to be paying for it. I don't offer a trial or anything like that because it's either you see the value in it or you don't. But it's a one-time fee. It's a lifetime license. So you know where your risk is. Dimitri asks again, yes, it works on 7 and 8, but it's a different install file, and I'm going to give you both. So eventually when you go from 7 to 8, it's like 2 for 1. You shouldn't have trouble installing it, but if you do, there's a support email address. Make sure you get a hold of us. It's not about any problems you have. It's just about the solutions. We'll make sure you're set. I think that's it. Juanita, if you want to take over, it was a pleasure doing this. I'm glad everybody came. We had a nice turnout. I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope you do this, and I hope to get a chance to meet you and make you part of a community of people kind of are serious about journaling and just getting to know each other, getting off an island of being lonely, and learning how to trade yourself as much as you do the markets and solving this problem. But it was a pleasure talking with you guys. I'm really encouraged about this as far as like proud of doing it. It wasn't for me, it's for others, and I don't want to sound like any other reason than that's just the truth. I think this is something that's helpful. It's not crazy expensive, and I think it's something that solves, like I said, a problem and helps people just get better, giving them a better chance. That's all anybody could ask from me is what could give me a better chance, and I think this is one thing that'll help doing that. But thanks to Ninja and Juanita. If you want to take it away and wrap it up, it's all yours.
Thanks, Anthony. Again, I just want to give a special thank you to Anthony with Verbal Journal Trading for a great presentation today. Everyone in attendance here will receive an on-demand recording of today's event, so please keep an eye out for that email. NinjaTrader Ecosystem is pleased to sponsor these weekly vendor events as a value-added service for our clients. If you find value in these events, we hope that you will attend them on a regular basis. And I'm going to go ahead and put our upcoming events as well as archived events link in the room. We'd like to remind you the information provided in this was that of Verbal Journal Trading and not of NinjaTraders. All information was for educational purposes and should not be construed as trading advice. Again, we appreciate the time that you do spend with us. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to see you in future webinars, everyone. Happy trading from everyone here on the NinjaTrader Ecosystem team.